Hello my fellow chef knives enthusiasts! Today I'm going to show you my Toyama Noborikoi 240mm Gyuto. Syuuji Toyama was born in 1939. He started as a blacksmith at Tadafusa when Tadafusa was still a one-man show. So he joined the founder of Tadafusa a long time ago when there was no factory yet, only a blacksmith. Toyama left Tadafusa to start for himself more than 50 years ago. Up till today he's working all by himself in his workshop, doing everything by himself. He's ranked amongst the great blacksmiths from Sanjo, Niigata, and considered to be on a similar level as a Kato and Watanabe by many knife connoisseurs. Hence Sahocho Knives in Tokyo, one of the two sellers that carry Toyama knives, places Toyama knives head to head with their Watanabe knives. So he's definitely a very skilled blacksmith, but not that famous in the West. At least I don't see too many Toyama knives in my newsfeed. So Syuuji Toyama was born in 1939, 2023.
2 + 2 is 4, -1, that's 3, quick maths.
That makes Syuuji Toyama 84 as of today. So considering that Toyama-san is 84, it is very possible that he will retire, maybe pretty soonish. So I'm glad to finally have added one of his blades to my collection. The box is a typical Japanese knife box. I love the color and golden kanji on it. I bought this Toyama Noborikoi from Maksim at Japanese Natural Stones in Denmark. This beautiful burnt chestnut handle was a free upgrade that Maksim has given to my knife. It was made in Sanjo, just like the knife, and is quite a classic example of a traditional Japanese handle from Sanjo. Maksim also added the original whole wood handle in the box, but Maksim told me that this burnt chestnut handle would definitely be an upgrade. I must say he was right. Not that there is anything wrong with this T-shaped whole wood handle. I actually like these type of handles as well. This is just a little bit more special. The subtle grooves in the wood give slightly better grip than this T-shaped handle. Thank you, Maksim. It's definitely a nice upgrade. Now let's have a look at this blade. For you, this might be the first time that you see this knife. For me, it wasn't. I already unboxed this knife yesterday. I already used it during the process of making this video. That's why my reaction on unveiling the knife was not so theatrical, because I already unboxed this knife. But if you like, I can try and act if I see this for the first time. Sent me the Oscar and the Golden Globes. No, obviously I'm not an actor. Anywho, let's get into this blade. On the right side of the blade, that is Syuuji Toyama's name. But on the back side, which is the left side of this blade, it says Noborikoi, which is the name of the line of this series. It's especially and exclusively made for Japanese natural stones, which is pretty cool. I also like how it's almost falling off the blade. Noborikoi means climbing / jumping carp in Japanese, and the kanji saying Noborikoi almost jumps off the blade. So I think that is quite appropriate. It's a little perfectly imperfect touch to this blade. I think this exclusive kanji and line for JNS is a testament for Maksim's warm and close relationship with the blacksmiths that he works with. Maksim told me that he goes to his makers and asks them to make the best knives they can. He rather pays top dollar for their best work than pay less and possibly forces makers to start cutting corners here and there. This knife was made with the steel that Syuuji Toyama loves to use most, and he treated to perfection. It is a blue steel, but I think only Maksim and Toyama knows which blue steel because it's not stated on the website. So to us it's not clear which blue steel this knife was made of. I hope it was Aogami Super, but if it's Aogami number 1 or 2, it's still a good steel. But for me personally, Aogami Super is my favorite blue steel. I'll just pretend it will be Aogami Super. The fit and finish of this knife is very acceptable. Although I would have liked it a little bit better if the spine and choil would have been nicely rounded and smooth. Actually, the choil has quite a wabi-sabi finish, as you can clearly see here. So the fit and finish is not perfect, but it's also not a deal breaker to me. The knife still feels and looks nice enough for me, and I personally like me some wabi-sabi. These are handmade knives, made one by one, so they can vary in size, thickness, and inconsistencies and unevenness like this on the finish can occur. I personally don't mind. Better yet, I actually kinda love it. It's part of the charm of handmade knives like this. You can have another opinion on that. If you pay good money for a knife, you're welcome to expect perfect fit and finish, of course. I personally love the fact that I can see that this is made by human hands. There is definitely beauty in imperfection, in my humble opinion. For example, I also like J Dilla beats. J Dilla was one of the best hip-hop producers, and he deliberately made the kick and the snare of a beat sound just a little bit off, which gave his beats a lot more soul, more groove, more like a human feel to it. It just sounded better than the precision of a flawless drum computer beat. But I digress. My point is, there is perfection and there is perfection, and in between those two kinds of perfection there's a few more shades of perfection. Anyway, I love the overall look of this blade. I'm actually thinking that I might be over my Damascus phase just a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still a sucker for Damascus, but I already own quite a few amazing Damascus knives, so I'm starting to look more at these type of blades, which have this no-nonsense traditional Japanese look. Very simple, just clean looking blades like this. And I start to appreciate it a little bit more and more. At the end of the day, it's all about the forged steel, the heat treatment, and its performance. Like many hand-forged knives, there is this dramatic spinal tapering straight out of the handle. But then, over most of the cutting edge, there is not much tapering. And even towards the tip, there is not too much tapering. The spine stays relatively thick. Sanjo knives have a reputation for being more rustic, heavier or beefy, and robust. Many Sanjo knives are ground with a convexity to a much more dramatic degree than Sakai knives. This Toyama Noborikoi also has a very beefy Sanjo grind with much convexity, which I can definitely feel on this blade. But it is also quite thin behind the edge. So based on the beefy overall blade geometry, I think I wouldn't use this knife as a delicate slicer, but more as a workhorse type of Gyuto on the board. It looks like the type of knife that, with all respect for sex workers, could be treated like a whore in a professional kitchen. It gives me the don't worry, just use me kind of vibes. Anyway, let's just show you the first spin I gave this knife on the cutting board. Action! It's kind of the profile that I expect from a 240mm Gyuto. About more than 2/3 of the blade from the heel has a nice flat spot. A nice gentle curve to the tip. Let's see how it cuts. Nice and smooth. I'm just moving the blade forwards. Really thin slices as well. I did strop the knife out of the box on a 12K stone and a leather strap. So it definitely has a nice and sharp edge right now. Let's see how that tip goes. Oof. Let's see how it goes through a shillet. Nice feel. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see how it goes through a carrot. No pressure. It wedges a little bit on the back where the knife is a little bit beefy. simply want to sand down the sharp edge at the spine a little bit, just for a little bit more comfort, and maybe as well right here at the joil. Other than that, this knife feels really good in the hand. Nice, light and nimble, especially for a bigger blade like this. It does take on this quite thick carrot pretty well. Sharp enough to go through a carrot just straight up and down chopping as well. But yeah, I wouldn't know why you would do that. If you have such a long blade, you pretty much want to use the length of the blade and just let it slide through the carrot. I have no complaints about this knife's performance until now. I love how easily and gently it just slides through this thick carrot, no problem whatsoever. Food release with this zucchini, not that fantastic. Zucchini really sticks to most blades, I must say. When you use that thinner tip of the blade, it does not really stick that much. It doesn't really bite through the skin of the bell pepper by itself, so the edge lost its toothiness. Maybe it's because I put it on a 12K stone and a leather strap, but I need to put a little oomph in it to go through the skin of a bell pepper. Oof. It did just glide through the sweet potato without making any sound, which is pretty sexy. Sweet potato, no problem. The height of this blade definitely gives you enough knuckle clearance. Even if you have thick fingers, it will be more than enough height. At the back, this knife is pretty tall. When it comes to performance, I think that is where this Toyama really shines. Sure, it's by no means a laser, but it was not made to be one. This knife was clearly made to be used in a professional kitchen. Its rather tall, beefy, sturdy and rustic physique makes it a no-nonsense workhorse that could withstand a little bit of punishment. And it's a knife that you don't have to worry too much about when you are busy in a professional kitchen. The cutting feel of the steel is very smooth. It's pretty light and nimble for a 240mm Gyuto. Its balance points is perfectly right at the pinch grip. Yeah, it performed pretty awesomely during the first spin I gave it on my cutting board. Even though I didn't really bond with the knife for 100% right away, I did feel that it was doing what it should do quite effortlessly. And I'm pretty sure this knife and I will become much better friends, and this knife will become an extension to my arm after I get to know it a little bit better. For a first use, it was definitely a fun and happy, satisfying experience.
You sure have a lot of good things to say about this knife, but are there any negatives that you should mention?
The lack of smooth finishing on the spine and joil are kind of underwhelming to me for the asking price. This knife does not really break the bank, but it wasn't cheap either. So one could expect a little bit of a higher level of fit and finish on a knife of this price point. That's one minor negative on the blade. The food release could be a little bit better, but yeah, that goes for basically all knives. But other than these few minor negatives, I'm pretty much happy with this knife. As I already mentioned, the overall cutting performance is very satisfying, and just for that, it does meet its value. This was it. As always, thank you for watching this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this video, this blacksmith and the knife. Do you own a Syuuji Toyama knife yourself? Do you like it? Do you want one? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye folks!